Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. See, in the previous class, right, we have completed assessment of overheads. Now, today we will see distribution of overheads, right? So, distribution of overheads means, say, for example, right, we have one administration cost center. So, the administration cost center is also a service cost center, right? Now, at the end of every month, we have to allocate the cost of this administration cost center to the other cost centers. Okay. For that purpose, we can use assessment. So if you use assessment, what is to be done? We create one secondary cost element with the name administration expenses. Then we create one cycle. In the cycle, we define the segment. Again, within the segment, you define the percentages, right? Then sender cost center, administration cost center, and receiving cost centers. All these things we define. So when we execute the assessment cycle, the system will allocate the cost of the administration cost center to the other cost centers under the name of secondary cost element, administration expenses. In that case, we cannot identify the cost elements of the administration cost center in the receiving controlling objects. But the management wants to identify the cost elements of the administration cost center in the receiving cost centers, right? That means here, the department D, administration cost center is posted with the rent 25,000 and wages 35,000. So when we allocate the cost in to the department A and department B, the management wants to know how much is the administration rent contributed to the department A total cost, and how much is the administration wages contributed to the total cost of department A. Similarly, how much is the administration rent and administration wages contributed to the department B total cost. That means here the management wants to identify the cost elements of the sender cost center in the receiving controlling objects. This is not possible in the case of assessment, right? For that purpose, we use the distribution, right? So the distribution and assessment are very similar, but only one major difference is there. In the case of assessment, right, what the system will do, the system will total all the cost elements posted to the sender. That cost is allocated to the receivers under the name of secondary cost element, right? But in the case of distribution, right, we can identify the cost elements of the sender cost center in the receiving controlling objects. That is the major difference. And in the case of assessment, the secondary cost element is mandatory. But in the case of distribution, secondary cost elements are not at all necessary. Why? Because the costs will be posted to the receivers under the name of original cost elements posted to the sender cost center. That's why, right? In the case of distribution, we don't need secondary cost element. So these are the two differences between assessment and distribution. One is, in the case of assessment, we require secondary cost element. But in the case of distribution, secondary cost element is not at all required. Number two, in the case of assessment, we cannot identify the cost elements of the sender cost center in the receiving controlling objects. But in the case of distribution, we can identify the cost elements of the sender cost center in the receiving controlling objects. Clear the difference? Features. Sender is always a cost center. Means the distribution can be used in the cost center accounting only. Then the receiver can be any controlling object. So the receiver can be a cost center, it can be an internal order, etc., right? Then it is not necessary to create secondary cost element. Underline this point. Then we can apportion only primary cost elements. We can identify the cost elements of the sender cost center in the receiving controlling object. You underline this point also. You underline this point also. Then the system posts the debit line items and credit line items in the receivers and senders respectively. So accept this point and this point, right? Then all the features of distributions are very similar with the assessment only, right? Now we will see how to configure. Here, This distribution of overheads is represented with one controlling activity RKIV. So we have to assign the controlling activity RKIV to the number ranges, right? So define number ranges for controlling activity RKIV, actual overheads distribution, transaction code KANK. So first you have to set your controlling area, OKKS, controlling area SSK. Right? So KANK. Controlling area is equal to SSKV. Controlling area is equal to SSKV. Click on maintain groups. Click on maintain groups. Keep the cursor on RKIV controlling transaction. No, do one thing. After clicking on maintain groups, right? Yeah, keep the cursor on RKIV transaction. It's correct only. RKIV. RKIV. Here. See, actual overhead distribution. Keep the cursor on RKIV. Click on SN element group. Click on SN element group. Double click on number range number 01. Click on save. See, here under the number ranges, RKIV has been taken over, right? Now, create a master record for another cost center as a service cost center. Within brackets, administration cost center. Right? Just to give me 1 minute. Yes, I am back. So create master record for another cost center as service cost center. Transaction code KS01. Here, cost center, we are creating this under services category, right? I mean, services function. So SS02. And already we have created one canteen cost center, right? Now this is the second service cost center. So 002. Cost center is equal to SS0 to 002. Valid from 1/4/2022 to 31st December 9,999. Click on enter. Name is equal to admin cost center. Name is equal to admin cost center. Description is also administration cost center. Description is also administration cost center. Person responsible A. Cost center category 2. Hierarchy area SS02. Business area SSKV. Currency INR. Click on save. Ignore the warning message. Then post salaries and rent account and identify them with the above cost center. You know how to post and how to identify. So document date is 22/12/2022. Type is SCA. Company code SSKV. Posting date 22/12/2022. Period 9. currency INR, posting key 40, account is 4,100,000 salaries. Click on enter. The amount is 12,000. Business area SSKV. Cost center SS02002. Administration cost center. Text being salaries paid. Posting key 40. The account is 4,300,000. Click on enter. The amount is 20,000. Business area SSKV. Cost center SS02002. Text being rent paid. Text being rent paid. Posting key 50. The account is 2,100,000. Click on enter. The amount is asterisk. Business area SSKV. Text plus. Click on save. Now let us display the cost center report. KSB1. See, total cost we have posted to the administration cost center 32,000. Now we create distribution cycle. Create distribution cycle. Simple. In the case of assessments, we create assessment cycle. In the case of distribution, we create a distribution cycle. In the case of periodic repostings, we create a periodic reposting cycle. As simple as that. So create a distribution cycle. Transaction code KSV1. Cycle is equal to SSKV2. Cycle is equal to SSKV2. Start date is equal to 1/4/2022. Start date is equal to 1/4/2022. Click on enter. Text is equal to distribution cycle number 1. Text is equal to distribution cycle number 1. Select iterative checkbox. Select iterative checkbox. Click on attach segment. Segment name is equal to admin. Segment name is equal to admin. Description is equal to administration cost center. Description is equal to administration cost center. Sender rule is equal to post amounts. Sender rule is equal to post amounts. Share in percentage is equal to 100%. Share in percentage is equal to 100%. Select actual values radio button. Select actual values radio button. Receiver rule is equal to fixed percentages. Receiver rule is equal to fixed percentages. Click on Senders Receivers tab. Click on Senders Receivers tab. Sender cost center is equal to SS02002. Cost element from is equal to 4,100,000. Cost element from is equal to 4,100,000. To 4,300,000 to 4,300,000. Receiver cost center group is equal to SSKV underscore PROD. So I want to distribute the cost of this administration cost center to the two production cost centers. So I am entering the group. Suppose, right? See, you want to allocate the cost of this administration cost center to all the cost centers, other cost centers, right? In that case, SS01001 to SS02001. all the three cost centers, right? Let us go according to material. So sender cost center group is equal to, receiver cost center group is equal to SSKV underscore PROD. Receiver cost center group is equal to SSKV underscore PROD. Click on receiver tracing factor tab, cost center, within brackets, SS01001, 50%. SS01001, 50%. Then cost center, SS01002, 50%. Just for calculation easiness, for our understanding purpose of calculations, right? I am using just 50%, 50% everywhere. Click on save. Now, every month end, the user executes the distribution cycle. Execute distribution cycle. Transaction code KSV5. Period is equal to 9 to 9. Period is equal to 9 to 9. Fiscal year 2022. Fiscal year 2022. Select test run. Select detail lists. Cycle is equal to SSKV2. Cycle is equal to SSKV2. Click on execute. Now, see, senders 2, number of receivers 4. Means here actually sender cost center is only one. Administration cost center, right? Then receiving cost centers are department A and department B. That is only 2 receivers. But here system is saying that senders 2, number of receivers 4. That means in the case of distribution, the system will consider every cost element posted to the sender cost center as a separate center, right? Right on this point. In the case of distribution, the system will consider every cost element posted to the sender cost center as a separate sender. See, here, sender cost center is administration cost center, right? So for the administration cost center, we have posted 2 cost elements. That's why it is saying senders 2. Then the system takes the first cost element that is allocated to 2 cost centers, department A and department B. So 2 receivers. Again, it will take second cost element, and that is apportioned to department A and department B. So for the second cost element, again 2 receivers are there. So totally there are 4 receivers. That's how you have to interpret the results in the case of distribution, right? Then click on receivers tab. See, we have posted salaries 12,000, right? 50% of 12,000, 6,000 is posted to SS01001 cost center under the original cost element. So where is the necessity to create a secondary cost element? That's why in the case of distribution, there is no necessity to create the secondary cost element. And the remaining 6,000 is posted to SS01002. Then we posted 20,000 salaries, right? Sorry, rent. So 50% of 20,000, 10,000 is posted to SS01001 under the name of rent cost element. Then remaining 10,000 was posted to SS01002. So this is the test run, right? In the test run, the system will only display the values. The values are not posted, right? So click on back arrow twice. Click yes on the message. Deselect test run. Click on execute. Now, let us display the cost center reports. Just a minute. to see the values in the target cost centers after distribution. Transaction code KSB1. Cost center is equal to SS01001. Cost center is equal to SS01001 to SS02002. Posting date is equal to 1/12/2022. 1/12/2022 to 31st December 2022. Click on execute. Look at the screen. In the department A, right? Salary is 6,000. CO partner object name is administration cost center. So salary is 6,000 from the administration cost center has contributed to the total cost of 1,13,000. Similarly, rent 10,000. Administration cost center. Then the department B, salary 6,000, rent 10,000. Now, in the administration cost center, salaries minus 6,000, salaries minus 6,000. Rent 10,000, minus 10,000, minus 10,000. So the system will post debit line items and credit line items in the both receivers and senders respectively. Now, here, one more difference is there. In the case of distribution, right? How many total items have been posted? 1, 2. In the department A, right? Again, in the department B, 1, 2. So total 4 line items still now, right? Then the sender, 1, 2, 3, 4. So after distribution, how many total line items have been posted? 8 line items have been posted, right? Suppose. So here in the administration cost center, right? In the administration cost center, we posted only 2 cost elements. We posted only 2 cost elements, right? Then receivers are 2. So suppose you have posted 100 cost elements to the sender. In that case, if you use the distribution with 2 receivers, 100 debit line items in the first receiver, again another 100 debit line items in the second receiver, total 200. Then again 100 plus 100, 200 credit line items are posted in the sender. So total, how many? 400 line items have been posted. But if you use assessment, the system will total all the 100 cost elements posted to the sender. That is apportioned to receivers under the name of secondary cost element only. In that case also, only 4 total line items will be posted. That means in the case of distribution, we require larger size of the database. This is another difference between assessment and distributions, right? Write down one more point there. In the case of distribution, we require huge size of the database. We require huge size of the database. Right? So the next topic is periodic repostings, right? So due to a very hectic schedule in the marriage, right, I was totally tired, right? So please pardon me, right? Today I'm closing the session with this. From tomorrow onwards, and also this weekend we have the classes, right?
Sir.
This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I will check the classes, right? 2 hours,
Sir.
2 hours. Yeah.
Sir, this is Joshna, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in the step 4, we are mentioning share in percentage as 100%.
Yeah.
Why we are mentioning as 100%, sir?
Because the total cost of the administration cost center is to be allocated to receivers. The system will take total cost posted to sender.
Okay.
Suppose if you want to allocate only 75%, you mention 75%, that's it. But
In the
normally,
75% only, under the cost centers, 50% portion means 75% only. It will take 50%.
yes,
Okay.
remaining 25% will be there in the balance.
Okay, sir.
Normally, it is always 100%. But
Okay, sir.
sometimes it may be less than 100%. That also I explained you previously. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sir, this is Nirosha.
This weekend we have the classes. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I didn't understand this point, sir. Sir, when we now we have passed an transaction like rent account and salaries account, and
Yes.
after distribution, we are getting 2 lines in department A and 2 lines in department B. So for
Yes.
for 2 line items, we are getting 4 line items, right?
No. 8 line items.
How come it, sir? I didn't understand.
See, in the receivers, 4, right?
Yeah.
Then the sender also it is there, no?
Sender
Minus
means
administration cost center.
okay, sir. What I understood, it's like we are posting a transaction like 12,000, right? 12,000 and 20,000. So I
Yes.
thought only these will be distributed.
Yeah, distributed. These 2 will be distributed, but result also will be displayed in the sender, no?
Okay.
Because the cost has to become 0.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Now I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. See you tomorrow.